I think I was born to be responsive to music. I think it sort of motivates just about everything I do. There's an edge of music in it, and our home had two pianos, one in the living room and one in the parlor. And I don't know, from the time I was able to plunk at the piano, I did, and Mother finally let me take lessons when I was 5. Big in our family was the Christmas program. My mother somehow or other had us three younger girls put on a program every Christmas Eve.
In the home?
Yeah, in our home. We had a gathering of their friends. We would sing, we would dance, we would play the piano. Sometimes we had a trio, sometimes we usually had at least a duet going on with the piano. Then my mother bought us a little Christmas tree so that we could dance around the Christmas tree. And the big wide doors between the parlor and the living room were our curtain. Then as soon as I was able to join the church choir, when I was 7, I did that, and when Mother couldn't go, I learned very young to take the city bus and get myself there and back.
And when you say city, what?
Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan. Wow.
Yeah.
What about in the neighborhood? Other influences that might have been around you that?
Well, yeah. I was raised in an African American neighborhood. There were a couple churches within walking distance. They had a tremendous amount of music, and when I could hear the music, I would sneak out and in so that I could get up there close enough to really see what was going on and listen to them. And then there was a couple blocks down, there was a piano parlor. I don't know how else to describe it, except that it was a room, and it had a great honky-tonk piano in it. And on the weekend evenings, that was a rockin' place. And I would steal away and be down there and soak in as much of it as I could. I had lots of music around, and I took advantage of it whenever I could.
So with all that music and your love of music, were you destined to get into music as a education or career? Or?
No. I didn't even think about careers, quite honestly. I mean, I was of the frame of mind that when you grew up, you got married and you had children and you took care of the home. Mm-hmm. I mean, a career was the furthest thing from my mind until I took chemistry. And I absolutely adored chemistry. So I wanted to become a pharmacist. But I was told, quite frankly, that I could not be a pharmacist because I was a girl. And I, at the age of 16, I believed it. I didn't sweat it. I just went on my way, and I picked the next thing that was challenging to me, and I majored in speech and drama education. I expected to teach in high school. And I just did music wherever I could. When I was in college, once I got going in my coursework and had some real experience in theater, then I spent a summer working for a professional musical tent, the Flint Musical Tent, as the properties manager. So I got myself as close as I could to it and, just sang along with everything. And I did finally become a teacher. And once I became a teacher, I fell in love with it. And so, the rest is sort of history.
Well, our history, certainly. Third grade homeroom teacher, 5th grade homeroom teacher, and then 3 productions. Cinderella, Hansel and Gretel, and then Wizard of Oz.
Right.
So, but how did that all, I mean, you were a 3rd grade teacher.
I came in as
the catalyst
as the 3rd grade teacher. The catalyst was Gwen Duff, because we had music once a week with Gwen Duff. But I was required as the classroom teacher to do at least 2 half-hour follow-ups. So, wasn't that awful? I was in love. I said, an excuse. And the musical was in the back of the third grade book, the Cinderella.
Yeah.
And so nobody else did them, but I said, couldn't we do that? And so, you know, that sort of segued into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And along with Gwen, who else over the years of productions?
Well, that was the third grade. But when they needed a fifth grade teacher, they knew that I had already taught seventh grade in the system, much earlier on science, seventh grade science. So after I'd had my 3 kids and I came back, then I did the third grade. And then they needed a fifth grade teacher, so I moved up there. And lo and behold, Pat Tuitt decided to come back to the classroom. Now, Pat Tuitt was this incredible music person. She couldn't read music terribly well, but she had this ear and she had this incredible ability to just play anything in any key. So, wow, you know, they got her a piano and put a piano in her room, and her room was next to mine. And so between Gwen and Pat Tuitt and myself, the musicals just became the way to go. I was the one who had the theater background and the training for, you know, how do you go about directing and producing something. So, yeah, it was a match made in heaven. And of course, I had always brought music into the class. I mean, I danced whenever the kids could dance. I brought dancing in. Yeah.
I remember in third grade, you had Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, Kate Brooks and I. You would put that on, and I just remember she and I dancing and dancing and dancing.
Did I dance with you?
I think you, yeah,
I
seem
think
to
I
recall.
probably did. Our little secret.
Yeah. So that's in the schools, but you were raising a family. You mentioned the 3 boys.
Oh, yeah.
How about music at home?
Oh, yeah, big. We started camping when the kids were 1, 3, and 5. And so I went out and found a little antique banjo ukulele. We camped across the country. We camped in most of the states. And one camping trip was 10,000 miles across the north
This is
and
serious
back.
camping.
Yeah, and back. And every night we had a campfire. And I played the ukulele, and we sang. We had a collection of songs that everybody that we all knew and loved. So we sang these at the campsite, and of course, the neighbors would come over and join us.
Yeah.
So yeah, big time.
What a great way to build community with strangers.
It was.
To sing around a campfire.
Yeah, it was lovely.
I love that you said you infuse music into any place you can.
Every place that I can.
And
yeah.
so currently you're doing a program, Family Math. Tell me about that program, but also how you've introduced music to that.
Family Math, we started in the late 80s. I was invited out to work with a group at University of California at Berkeley, Berkeley. And one of the programs was Family Math, was a part of that program. And Family Math I really, really glommed onto because it was parents and their children working together on math in a really friendly way, guided by the teacher. And I loved it. And so I liked it so much. Don came and joined me, and he got the training too. In the meantime, when I was the math coordinator in Bath, Maine, someone put in my mailbox at the school a poem called the Unity Poem by Anonymous. And I read it through, and I was just so taken with it. I loved it. It was about parents and teachers working together on behalf of the kids. That sort of stuck in my craw, and as I read it, it sounded just like, it had the meter that was just like Joan Baez's Last Night I Had the Strangest Dream. And I checked it out, measure for measure, and by golly, it totally matched. And so I incorporated that unity song into the family math program, and when we would ever finish a training, we closed it with a sing-along with the ukulele, and everybody loved it. You know, it was just kind of a lovely touch to the program.
Well, I think that we should sing that to close the interview, if you're up to it.
Well, shall we try?
Let's see if we have ukuleles here.